We're going to go through this part of my book collection to determine what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of. I'll talk as we go about why this is happening. This is where most of my books live, actually. You're used to the Sci-Fi place. But this bookshelf is stacked 3 deep on every shelf, or most shelves. So I have hundreds of books in here. Dragon Knight by Gordon R. Dixon in the hardcover. That's a first edition. I will be able to find this again. So this one I am going to sell. I'm getting rid of books because I'm moving out of my apartment. I'm going full-time remote to do YouTube videos abroad. I'm going to be traveling around, living in low cost of living countries, shooting YouTube videos. The nature of the channel subjectively might change a little bit in terms of the aesthetics of it, but I'm still going to be doing essentially what I'm doing here, what I have been doing here. Ursula Le Guin, 3 Hainish novels. This is a book club edition. Rokanan's World, Planet of Exile, and City of Illusions. I hear that these are good, but not her strongest. I think these are her first 3 novels, and as much as I love this book, I can stand to part with it, and I can also find these books again if I really want to, and I can probably get them on e-reader, which is how I'm going to be reading most of my books. Last Hurrah of the Golden Horde by Norman Spinrad. Hardcover, also book club edition. This is a sequel or something along those lines to a Moorcock book. I know that much about it. I don't know much more about it. I do like Spinrad, and it's got a great cover. This is not going to be a punch in the gut to sell, though, so sell it I will. I'm going to be having a Whatnot auction, probably multiple Whatnot auctions for these. I haven't decided exactly when, but I'll post that down in the description and the comments as well. Starlight, great short fiction of Alfred Bester. This is not a very common book. It is a book club edition. I am not confident that I will be able to find this one again if I really want to. Certainly not in the wild, which is how I found the majority of these, so they have kind of sentimental attachment for that reason. They are slightly more special. This one I am keeping. Keeping means going into storage. The Hand of Oberon, Zelazny. I will be able to find this again if I want it. I have a big run of Moorcocks. Book 3 of Runestaff, Black Corridor. Mad Gods, Amulet, Book 2 in Runestaff. So Book 2 and 3, I don't know if I have all of those. Bull and the Spear by Moorcock. Quorum number 4. Oops, I'm kind of separating these out into themes. Breakfast in the Ruins by Moorcock. Fire Clown, probably my favorite Moorcock cover. The English Assassin and a UK paperback. Most of these Moorcocks I'm going to end up keeping. Runestaff, Book 1. Nope, Book 4. 4th and final. Let's see if we have all of them. Silver Warriors by Moorcock. Eternal Champion book with a Frazetta cover, I believe. Looks that way. Masters of the Pit or Barbarians of Mars. That's a Silverberg. We'll get to that. Let's go through the Moorcocks. 3rd volume in Runestaff. Is that duplicate? Yes, I have 2 of those. So this one is a die. I didn't realize there was a duplicate. This one I will definitely sell. The Eternal Champion. Is that a quorum? Not sure. Okay, so that run of Moorcocks. These I am probably going to keep. Because Moorcocks, you simply don't find them. I don't find them in thrift stores, and I'm pretty attached to these. I'm tentatively going to... I might sell these, because I'm not sure if I have number 1. If I do have number 1 over on the Sci-Fi place or somewhere in here, I'll dig these back out and keep them. Those I can bear to part with. Bull and the Spear, I will keep. Stepsons of Terra by Silverberg. I don't think this is one of his better known ones. In the Ace. Much as I love Silverberg, I think I can bear to part with that one. I'm trying to get rid of as much as I can stand to. Guns of Avalon. Is that a... Yeah, that's an Amber book. I will sell it. Vintage copy of Fahrenheit 451 in the best cover that there is. Not a scarce book. I mean, this printing is scarce, but I'm not especially attached to that title. 3 Stigmata I am keeping. Maze of Death I am keeping. And Ubik I am keeping. These vintage Dick paperbacks are scarce. Scop by Barry Malzberg. He's been discussed at length on Outlaw Booksellers channel, and Steve says this is not a beginner's Malzberg. It has JFK on the cover. So this one I think I am going to sell. This one I keep. Vintage copy of Dangerous Visions. Orange cover. Extremely scarce. Extremely expensive. Hard to find. I guess there was an SF Masterworks reprint of it at some point. I don't think that one's even particularly common. You can't, I don't know, maybe you can get this on ebook or something, but that one's staying with me. These Vances are going to be tough. That's Inferio. It's got like a coffee stain on it. I am not going to love parting with that many Vances because he's one of my favorites. And in terms of vintage paperbacks, probably my #1 favorite author. Just in terms of wanting the actual physical books. I know that I can probably get this again, and I can probably get this in better shape, so I will sell that Vance. The Enemy, I think that's part of a series. The World of Durdain. I'm probably going to end up keeping most of my Vances. Jack of Shadows by Zelazny. Great cover. I have to admit, my love of Zelazny peaked at Dream Master, and everything that I've read since has been good, but I've not been infatuated with it in the way that I was with Dream Master, so Zelazny, not that difficult for me to part with. Not that he's bad, certainly not a bad writer, but he's not my personal... He doesn't get my blood pumping in the way that he used to, I guess. Memoirs Found in a Bathtub by Lem. That stays with me. I have a bunch of these Lems with the Stanislav Fernandez covers. Who's one of my favorite cover artists. This one I may keep. The Men Inside by Malzberg. This is his spin on Fantastic Voyage by Asimov, or thematically it's very similar in terms of the plotting. It's supposed to be really scatological and weird. I'm not confident that this is findable without spending a bunch of money. I'm not going to double check that too hard because I want to keep this one. Vulcan's Hammer by Philip K. Dick. It is vintage Dick. It's not one of the big titles. Battle of the Brain Machines. I think I can actually stand to sell this one, so sell it I shall. Maroon, Alastor 933. Tentatively going to keep that one. Languages of Pow, I'm going to keep this. Showboat Worlds, I will probably keep. Again, the ones that I'm not keeping, it's not that they are necessarily bad books or that I'm not interested in reading them. It's a question of scarcity of, like, how important is this physical book to me? How attached am I to the physical book? And how easy is it going to be to find it on e-reader / when I come back from my travels, which will inevitably happen, will I be able to find it? So these, I think I'm going to keep. Three Body Problem, I do own it. I've not read it. I will sell this. I have the Remembrance of Earth's Past box set sealed. This will be for sale. The Iron Dream by Spinrad. There is no chance I'm selling that. My copy of Norstrilia. Books that I really love that I have read, I probably don't really want to sell. My copy of Neuromancer. I just am attached to these books. Masters of Everon by Dixon. This is the one that I read. It's a decent book. I will sell this. Many-Colored Land by Julian May. A very nice viewer tracked me down and insisted on sending me a bunch of Julian May books very kindly. I said yes. Typically I have not solicited books from you because I have a lot of them in limited space. I'm going to keep this one, and I'm probably going to sell the rest of them. So if you're watching, sorry for that, but space is limited. Silverberg, Madripoor Chronicles. Again, Silverberg, possibly my favorite author. but I will be able to find that one again. Le Guin, A Fisherman of the Inland Sea. It's not a particularly common one, but I will sell it. A. Merritt, The Metal Monster. Merritt was influential on a lot of weird fiction writers. I think he was a big influence on Lovecraft. I think this is the same person that wrote The Moon Pool, which is a pretty famous work. Neat that I found this. I will sell it. Island by Huxley, his utopian novel that I think was published post Brave New World. Originally published 1962. That sounds late for Huxley. That might just be that edition. It's not in great shape. I will sell that. That's probably public domain. So you can probably get that on e-reader. Hardcover First of Otherlands by Tad Williams. I'm going to sell that one. Hardcover, I think, Book Club of Titan by John Varley. This sounds like an amazing, weird book. It is a little foxed up on the page edges. I will sell that. Tom Raimi, Blind Voices. It's supposed to be an interesting author. Not a very well-known author. Someone I've heard discussed a couple times. That's a book club edition. I will sell it. This one's tough. Medea, Harlan's World. It's a big hardcover collection that was overseen by Harlan Ellison. Has a bunch of big names in it. Probably not going to get around to reading this anytime soon, so one of you might as well have it. This one I keep. Best of C.M. Kornbluth. My favorite Golden Age author that I have read. This one I think I also will keep. The Food of Death, 51 Tales by Lord Dunsany. I found this in a little lending library in my neighborhood, which is bizarre, because that is not a common book at all. Gorgeous book. This is the first Dunsany that I read, and I never finished it. I had some limitation on time or attention. This is pre-Bookpilled that I acquired that. Absolutely beautiful book. Beautiful writing. Excuse me. So I will keep that. Real Story and Dark and Hungry God Arises. Not book clubs, I don't think, or at least the red one is not. This one might be. Yeah, I will sell these. They're supposed to be very good. My copy of Dune. This is a maybe. I might sell this one. Dune is not that hard to come by. And I have a much rarer edition of Dune that might be the one that I keep. Even though this is the one that I read, I may still keep it. I have to decide on this. That's maybe. Brainchild by George Turner. I think an obscure cyberpunk book. Is it book club? I don't know. I will find out. I will sell it. Mutants, edited by Silverberg. A short story anthology with a bunch of big names. This is verging on maybe, but I think I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off and sell it. I'm also trying to pay for this expensive life change that I'm undergoing. Vintage copy of Second Foundation by Asimov. Probably not going to sell this one, even though this is my least favorite of the Foundation books that I read. It is kind of special that it's this vintage copy, and I found it at a flea market sale that was the germinal event of me starting the Book Build channel. Probably going to keep that one. Ancillary Justice, basic trade paperback, I'll sell it. Heretics of Dune by Herbert. Not in great shape. I will sell it. That is the first shelf down. Let's do one more. Vintage copy of Clockwork Orange. This is a maybe. Not a common book to find, especially not in a vintage edition. Sasquatch Field Guide. This was a gift from, wasn't it Vintage Viking? I think it was Vintage Viking. If you're watching, thank you again. If it's not you, sorry to whoever actually gave this to me. I should know that. By Jeff Meldrum. I'm probably going to keep that one. Doom Endgame. I got to keep it because I had the first 3 Doom books in the old edition with the cartoony covers, and I sold them or gave them to somebody foolishly a long time ago, and I regret doing it because they're really hard to find. And this is, I don't know. It's dumb, but I'm probably going to keep that one because it is rare. and I want to get them all back. Cipher by Kathy Koja. That's a gift from Juan at Plagued by Visions. I will keep that one for sure. Dichronauts in hardcover by Egan. It's supposed to be great. I've heard Michael Everts of Fit to Be Read talk about this a lot. Very interesting sounding book, but I will sell it because I know I'll be able to find it again. Dreams from Bunker Hill by John Fonte. This is lit fic. I'm going to keep that because I love Fonte, and I also love these Black Sparrow books. And Bukowski and R. Crumb. The captain is out to lunch, and the sailors have taken over the ship. Keeping that one. London, Novels and Social Writings. This is not a complete Jack London collection, but it does have Iron Heel and The People of the Abyss and Martin Eden in it, as well as a bunch of essays. Great book. I love these Everman libraries. Probably going to sell this one because that's all stuff I can get on e-readers. Oh man, this is going to burn. New Dimensions 3 by Silverberg. I'll probably keep this. It's just got amazing names in it and a great cover. Foragers by Charles Oberndorf. I was always curious about this one. I never have heard this spoken of or seen him talked about. Found it at Book Off for $2.50, and I just could never quite part with it, even though I'm not that interested in reading it. So I'm going to sell it, but that's going to be one that I might remain curious about. Windows into Tomorrow by Silverberg. The fact that I hung on to this one suggests that the lineup is probably stellar, so I'll probably keep this one. Yeah, Ballard, Dick, Spinrad, Ellison, Silverberg, Jack Vance. I guess I can sell that one. I can sell that one. Nor Crystal Tears by ADF. Read part of this when I was a kid, and I remember really liking it. Not particularly attached to it. I'm actually going to keep this one, I think. This is going to go into the maybe pile, actually. The Vang, The Military Form by Christopher Rowley. Not a great book, but really disgusting and fun. So, maybe. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass in this great vintage floppy paperback. I can sell that one. This, not a chance. I'm keeping this one. This is a gift from Moyd. This is my copy of Case of Conscience. Thank you, Moyd, again, if you're watching. Moorcock's The Time Dweller. I did read this copy and reviewed it. I'm actually going to sell this one because as much as, well, am I? This is going to go to the maybe pile. I love that cover very much. And I do like the book, too. Deus Ex by Spinrad. That's a maybe. Did read that one, too. Day of Creation by Ballard. I'm going to sell. This is a lit fic book, I believe. Gladiator by Philip Wiley. This is an old story that was the foundational text for Superman. I'll sell it. Son of Man by Silverberg, the big trade paperback. Really curious about this one, but this more contemporary trade paperback I will allow myself to part with. Great vintage copy of Tau Zero by Poul Anderson. As much as I love the aesthetics of the book, this is probably not going to be a hard book to find, I hope. I'll sell it. Radix by Adanasio. This is going in the maybe pile. A lot of people talking about this. My copy of 2001 by Clark. I will sell it. Gods Themselves. Moon is a Harsh Mistress. iRobot. I will sell these. We Who Are About To by Joanna Russ. This is also a gift from Juan. Keeping that one. Same with The Genocides, gift from Juan. That one stays with me. And speak of the devil, Juan Valencia's Poking Holes. And it's signed with a dedication to me. So selling that one, just kidding. Pan by Newt Hampson. One of my favorite literary fiction writers and books. I've read this one and I've read Hunger. Hunger is one of my favorite novels of all time. So I'm going to keep that one. Whatever by Welbeck. Litfic, I will sell it. That's his first novel. Nine Princes in Amber by Zelazny. This is the copy that I read. Great vintage copy. I can sell it. Swords and Deviltry by Fritz Leiber. I can sell this as well. That was my copy that I reviewed. Same with this one, Wizard of Earthsea. My copy of King of Elfland's Daughter. This is going to go on the maybe pile. I would keep it if it was vintage, because this is the copy that I read, and I adore this book. But because it's not vintage, I feel it's slightly less special. But I am attached to it, so that's a maybe. Not a Chance, that stays with me forever. Bob Shaw, Palace of Eternity. One of my favorite books. Voices of Time by Ballard. Vintage. Keeping that. Traveler in Black by John Brunner in the Kick-Ass Vintage edition. Probably keep that. Bran MacMorn by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Right? Nope. Robert E. Howard. The Conan guy. I can sell that. As much ass as that kicks, I will sell that. Not that attached to Howard. Burning Chrome. I love the book, but I want someone else to have it. Will o' the Wisp. This is pretty rare. I talked about this on the channel. I'm going to keep that one. Maybe the most special book I've ever owned. I am deeply attached to this book. This specific book that I found at a library sale. Didn't expect the video reviewing it to hit 75,000 views. But if I can be slightly immodest, I feel like maybe I'm responsible for giving this book a little bit of a second life. And there was a series of accidents that had to happen for me to find this book, buy it, and actually roll it on the random checker to read it. And I almost bailed on it because it was so long and I was impatient. But I stuck it, read it. One of my favorite books ever. This is probably going to be with me until I die. Dream Snake by Vonda McIntyre, nice vintage copy. That's the one that I read. You can have it. Same with this, Man in the High Castle. I will be able to find this for sure. And Isle of the Dead by Roger Zelazny. I will sell it. We are rounding up to 25 minutes. I think I'm going to cut it off there. There's going to be plenty more of these videos. And check the comments. I'll pin the comment with the date and time for this Whatnot auction. It'll be coming up pretty soon. So stay tuned. See you there. Hopefully. Thanks.